The story of Phoenix Land. Once upon a time, there was a rich man who considered himself to have patience that few people could match. The rich man had a daughter who was very beautiful. When his daughter reached marriageable age, the rich man immediately thought of a way. He posted a sign at the gate of his house saying, "Any guy makes me angry." If he gets angry, he will immediately marry his daughter to that person, but if he fails to do so within a month, he will be beaten 100 times and then sent home. Seeing the listing like that, many boys came to try it, hoping to marry that beautiful girl as his wife. Many young men applied one after another to become a son-in-law with many different tricks but still could not make him angry, so he had to accept the painful beating but returned empty-handed. All his efforts as a son-in-law to find a wife were considered useless. Does it damage or burn? So for many years, the girl still kept her shadow away. One day, a skinny guy came to ask to be introduced. The rich man asked, "What do you want?" The young man replied, "I want to be your son-in-law." Hearing that, the rich man immediately asked, "Have you read carefully the promises posted on the board?" "Wait. Look." From head to toe, the rich man said, "I'm afraid you won't be able to endure 100 of my punishments." The guy just assumed it was okay, and came to be the son-in-law as he wished. After staying for a few days, the guy invited the rich man. "Tomorrow morning, you and I will go hunting to find some civets and weasels to eat." Hearing about hunting, the rich man expressed interest, but said, "Let's go." "Hunting, but our family doesn't have a hunting dog. What should we do?" The guy immediately replied, "Teacher, if that's the case, I'll be a dog for you." "Okay." The rich man tied the dog with a rope and led it into the forest. The young man kept sniffing from one bush to the other as if pretending to find prey. After a while, he caught a glimpse of a civet's tracks nearby, so the rich man urged the young man to run and chase him. After only a moment, then the two of them surrounded the grove and hunted a civet. The rich man and his son-in-law were very happy, rushing to bring the prey home in time for the drinking party. After bringing the prey home, the rich man immediately told him, "Come on, go kill the civet." The guy shook his head, "I'm a dog, so how can I hold a knife to kill civets?" The rich man said again, You know how to respond, right? Then let me be the bait, and you go buy wine." The guy still shook his head, "I already told you, if you're a dog, how can you buy wine?" The rich man was very angry, but his face remained calm as if he were a dog. The flute, alone, worked hard to kill the civet and cook everything, while my son-in-law just lay down and had a good night's sleep. After cooking everything somewhere, the rich man hurriedly took the bridegroom went to the store to buy wine. When the son-in-law saw the rich man gone, he immediately brought the civet meat out and ate it, filling him to the brim, not leaving a single piece to annoy him. The rich man brought the wine back and saw the pot of meat. The civet was completely dry, his stomach was about to boil, but on the outside he still didn't show any attitude, just asked the guy, "You can eat it too, but can you leave any for me?" He calmly replied, "Hanging dog. Covered cat." The teacher accidentally let the dog eat it, so how could he still expect to get a share? The rich man had to answer, "Okay." The guy knew that the rich man was very angry, so he waited a while and then approached and asked, "Teacher, are you angry with me, teacher?" But he still smiled and replied, if I'm angry with you, who should I live with? The son-in-law knew that he still couldn't win against him, so he tried to think of another way to get him in trouble, but he couldn't. It's not that simple, because many people have come here and gone home after being beaten. Okay, we'll see. Another day, the two of them invited each other to go hunting. This time the rich man wanted to find a way to get revenge on the cunning son-in-law, so he accepted to be a dog. The son-in-law also guessed that, so this time he aimed at thorny places and set up his net. Every time he saw that the rich man did not dare to rush in, he took the whip and whipped his ass and urged, "Hurry up. Come in. As a dog, you have to try to hide in order to catch the prey." The rich man was beaten several times, so he had to rush in. The thorns scratched his face and looked very painful. The guy dragged them all to the east and then to the west to stop him. He tried to catch the civet, but kept missing his prey. At that time, he saw that being a dog was not good, but he couldn't bear to lose to this cunning son-in-law, so he had to suppress his anger. The guy asked again, "Are you angry with me, teacher?" He was still smiling. "If I'm angry with you, who should I live with?" That day, the two of them also hunted a civet. Returning home, he finished butchering and cooking, then turned to the rich man. "Now go buy wine." The rich man imitated him and replied, "How can a dog know how to buy wine?" Who would have thought that this guy was just waiting for the old man to answer? He went to get a rope and tied the rich man to the pillar of the house, saying, "Dogs are the king of clumsiness, so you have to tie them up to be sure." After saying that, he left to buy wine. The rich man at home was very angry, but he was tied up so tightly that he couldn't move even half a step. After buying the wine, the son-in-law sat down alone and ate his hands, leaving many bones behind the rich man to annoy him. After finishing the meal, he untied the old man's rope and asked, "Are you angry with me, teacher?" The guy still heard the familiar answer, "If I'm angry with you, who should I live with?" Seeing that I haven't won against the rich man yet, the deadline is near. Next door, he was a bit worried. One day he discussed, "Right now, the farm work is a bit free. I ask you to go on a trading trip to earn some profit. I will share it." "Yes, that's okay." As he left, he told the rich man, "Tomorrow afternoon, teacher. Go to the intersection at the beginning of the village, put your load there and then go immediately to make another trip. So if you see a load of goods, you can just carry them back for me." The next afternoon, the rich man listened to the guy and went to the meeting place, and saw a pair of bags carefully covered and tied with ropes, waiting there. He didn't know what the goods were. "But just do as my son-in-law said, put it on my shoulders to carry it home. The road is long and the load is really heavy." What kind of goods is this brat selling that is as heavy as the devil? His mouth blames him, but he still has to carry it home. His face was haggard. Sweat was pouring down like a stream. When he got there, he was so tired that he was about to faint, but he tried to suppress his anger, determined not to give in to this cunning son-in-law. After sitting and resting for a while, he stood up. I got up, opened the lid, and saw that one box was full of rocks, and the other box saw my goddamned son-in-law sitting huddled inside. The guy stood up and smiled and asked, "Are you angry with me, teacher?" The rich man still smiled and replied, "If I'm angry with you, who will I live with?" Next time, the rich man also imitated his boyfriend to go trading and told him to go to the river bank. Carry the goods home. Guessing the old man's plot, the next afternoon, he went to the couple's side and knocked on the toad to pretend to be the sound of a galloping horse, shouting loudly, "Whose burden is placed in the middle of the road to block the way for the mandarin's horse to pass?" Sitting crouched down. Inside, the rich man heard a scream and thought it was a mandarin's horse coming, so he panicked and was so confused that he rolled a few times and then fell into the river. The son-in-law let him make a bowl of water before scooping it up and asking, "Are you angry with me, teacher?" He tried to smile wryly. "If I'm angry with you, who should I live with?" The next day, people saw him pick up a pair of baskets and leave. After a while, he panicked and ran home calling loudly, "Teacher, I caught a very beautiful earthen phoenix. Teacher, come and hold it for me so I can find a net around it and catch it securely. I've blocked the rocks. Teacher, come out now." The rich man, who really liked raising birds, was so happy when he heard that, he immediately ran to the place where he told him to go and saw a hat in the middle of the road, with a few rocks on top. Then he collapsed and hugged his hat tightly. Unfortunately for him, at that moment, the king and his entourage passed by that place. Seeing a person lying prostrate in the middle of the road, holding his hat, the king stopped the palanquin. Then he stepped out and asked, "What are you doing?" The rich man immediately said, "Your Majesty, this untouchable person has landed a very beautiful earthen phoenix. It is in this hat, currently waiting for someone to come back and take out a net to catch it, lest it escape. It would be a waste." Hearing that the phoenix was on Earth, the king could not stop his curiosity, so he quickly ordered his troops to find a way to catch it for the king to see, without waiting. Net. But when he lifted the hat, he saw only a pile of buffalo dung and no earthen phoenix at all. Angry that someone dared to blatantly deceive him, the king shouted at the rich man's soldiers to come out and fight them to death. Waiting for the king. The officers and soldiers are gone. The new guy ran out from the bush to help the rich man up, massaged him and asked, "Are you angry with me, teacher?" The rich man was so angry that he jumped up. "You bastard! You almost made him lose his head. How can I not be angry with you? Did you die with me?" The guy ran away and said, "Then you've lost." A few days later, people saw the rich man's family having a wedding. It was the wedding of the cunning young man who married the landlord's daughter, whom he won in this strange contest. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.